My family stopped speaking to me after I married a school janitor. Not a teacher, not a professor. The janitor. My mother refused to say his name for years. She called him, "your maintenance husband." My brother used to joke, "At least if medicine fails, he can clean the hospital." Everybody laughed awkwardly. And my husband? He stayed quiet. Then 9 years later, my family got invited to the opening ceremony for a brand new science building. They thought my doctor brother was being honored. But when school revealed the name, the entire building had my husband's name on it. My name is Elena Monroe. I'm 36 years old. And that was the moment my family realized the man they were ashamed of had quietly become the most respected person in the entire community. If you've ever watched somebody kind get treated like they mattered less because of their job, this story will stay with you. In my family, titles meant everything. My older brother Nathan Monroe was the doctor. My sister Victoria Monroe was the attorney. And me? I was the smart daughter who ruined her future because I married a janitor. My husband's name was Gabriel Torres, but my family almost never called him that. To them, he was the maintenance man, the hallway cleaner, the mop guy, always said casually, always disguised as humor. But repeated disrespect changes the way a room feels. Gabriel carried this heavy blue janitor keyring everywhere, dozens of keys, loud metal sound every time he walked. My mother hated it. She once whispered to me, "That thing ruins the atmosphere." I didn't understand then. Those keys would become the most important symbol in our entire story. My parents refused to attend our courthouse wedding. My mother said, "People will talk." So after the ceremony, it was just me and Gabriel sitting alone in a small restaurant. The waitress looked around awkwardly and asked, "Will anyone else be joining you?" And honestly, that was the moment I cried. At our first Thanksgiving after marriage, my family seated Gabriel beside the coat rack near the kitchen. Not at the table, near the hallway, like they were trying to keep his uniform separate from the rest of dinner. During dinner, the kitchen sink started leaking badly, water everywhere. Everybody panicked immediately, and without saying a word, Gabriel quietly rolled up his sleeves, walked into the kitchen, and fixed it in 10 minutes, then sat back down silently. Nobody thanked him. Dinner just continued. One night, my brother Nathan laughed and said, "At least if medicine fails, we know who can clean the hospital." The room laughed awkwardly. Even my father smiled slightly. I looked at Gabriel immediately, but he just kept eating quietly. And honestly, that hurt me more than if he got angry. One afternoon at the grocery store, something strange happened. Students kept running up to Gabriel excitedly. High school kids, middle school kids, even parents. "Mr. Torres, you coming to robotics tonight? Thanks again for helping me study." My family looked confused watching it happen, because suddenly, the janitor everybody mocked was somebody important to other people. The world doesn't always reveal someone's value immediately. Sometimes you only see it by watching how other people feel around them. One day, I noticed my mother removed our wedding photo from the hallway. When I asked why, she said something I'll never forget. "His uniform ruins the frame." That sentence sat inside my chest for years. One night, I went to surprise Gabriel at school after his shift. The cafeteria lights were buzzing softly. Hallways smelled like bleach and floor wax. And down the science wing, I found Gabriel sitting with 4 immigrant students, teaching them English after hours. No extra pay, no recognition, just patience. And standing there watching quietly, I realized something my family never understood. Gabriel wasn't just cleaning the school, he was helping hold it together. After marrying Gabriel, certain smells became part of our life: bleach on jackets, floor wax on work boots, snow salt stains near the apartment door during winter. And strangely, I grew to love those things because they reminded me of something my family never understood. Hard work has a smell too. One evening, I found an envelope hidden inside our kitchen drawer. Tuition receipt, night classes, my name on it. I stared at Gabriel, completely confused. "What is this?" He smiled softly and said, "You gave up enough already." That's when I realized, while my family kept focusing on what I lost marrying him, Gabriel quietly kept rebuilding my future. One winter morning, I dropped coffee off for Gabriel before sunrise. The hallways were still dark, cafeteria lights buzzing softly, and at exactly 5:12 a.m., Gabriel was already mopping water near the science wing so students wouldn't slip before class. No applause, no recognition, just responsibility. Gabriel carried this old, cracked walkie-talkie clipped to his belt, constant static, barely worked properly. But every few minutes, somebody called for him. Teacher locked out of classroom, student crying in hallway, heating issue in gymnasium, and somehow, Gabriel always showed up first. My family assumed Gabriel worked extra night shifts because janitors don't make enough. But one night, I discovered where he actually went after work: the robotics classroom. He spent hours helping students build competition projects for free. And the craziest part? Half the kids trusted him more than their own teachers. Some people become important quietly because they help others when nobody's watching. One afternoon, I opened Gabriel's old toolbox looking for batteries, and inside one drawer, I found dozens of handwritten notes, folded carefully, saved for years. Notes from students. "Thank you for helping me stay after school. Thanks for fixing my science project. You made school feel safe." And suddenly, I understood why he never threw anything away. During our first year of marriage, money was tight, really tight. Sometimes Gabriel skipped dinner saying he already ate at school. I believed him. Then years later, I found out the truth. He skipped meals to help one of his students buy asthma medication, and he never told anybody, not even me. One morning, my father secretly visited the school, didn't tell us beforehand, and while walking through the hallway, he saw something unexpected. Students hugging Gabriel before class, teachers greeting him by first name, one nervous freshman stopping him just to ask, "Mr. Torres, are you here after school today?" And for the first time, I think my father finally saw what everybody else already knew. Then disaster hit the school. A pipe burst inside the chemistry wing during winter break. Water flooding labs, equipment at risk. The district panicked immediately. And Gabriel worked 19 straight hours. He saved almost everything: lab equipment, student projects, research computers, millions in damage avoided. And afterward, teachers started talking about him differently, not the janitor, the person who saved the science building. But when my mother heard the story, she still only said, "You could have married a professor." And honestly, that was the moment I realized something painful. Some people become so obsessed with status, they stop recognizing goodness standing right in front of them. The saddest part about quiet people is that the world often benefits from them long before their own families do. One afternoon, a video started spreading around the town online. A student from Gabriel's robotics club had just been accepted into MIT. Everybody was celebrating. Then during the interview, The student said something unexpected. Honestly, none of this happens without Mr. Torres from the night halls. Not the principal, not a teacher. Gabriel. And suddenly, thousands of people started learning his name. A few weeks later, I accidentally discovered another secret. Gabriel had opened a scholarship savings account years earlier, tiny deposits every month. Sometimes $20, sometimes $50. Nothing flashy, just slow, quiet sacrifice. And eventually, he used that money to help struggling students pay for books, lunches, and college applications. But none of that mattered to my brother Nathan. At a family dinner, he introduced Gabriel to one of his doctor friends by saying, "This is my sister's maintenance husband." The room laughed politely. And once again, Gabriel just smiled calmly. No anger, no defense. Honestly, his silence started making everybody else look worse. Then something unexpected happened. Nathan's teenage son started getting into serious trouble, skipping classes, fighting at school, almost expelled. Nobody could get through to him. Not teachers, not counselors, not his parents, except Gabriel. One night, my nephew admitted something quietly during dinner. Mr. Torres actually listens to people. The room went silent immediately, because for the first time, somebody in my family publicly said what everybody outside the family already knew. Respect hits differently when it comes from people who don't owe you anything. Gabriel earned that kind of respect quietly for years. One evening, I overheard teachers talking near the gymnasium after school. One of them said, "He's saved more kids than most counselors here." Another nodded immediately. "Half these students stay in school because somebody finally believed in them." And standing there listening, I realized something overwhelming. My husband had become emotionally important to an entire generation of students. A few days later, my father accidentally dropped his wallet near our kitchen counter. And inside, I saw something strange. Gabriel's old schoolwork badge, worn edges, faded photo. I looked at my father, confused. He quickly picked it up and quietly said, "I forgot that was still in there." But honestly, I think he carried it for a reason. Meanwhile, my mother still refused to say Gabriel's name directly. Even after everything, she'd still say things like, "How's your husband doing at the school?" Never Gabriel. Never respectfully. And honestly, that hurt more after seeing how much he gave to other people. Then one afternoon, an official invitation arrived at my parents' house. Gold embossed lettering, school district seal, Science Center opening ceremony. Immediately, my brother assumed he was being honored as a medical donor. My mother got emotional instantly, talking about family success. And the strangest part? Nobody asked why Gabriel was specifically invited too. The ceremony day felt strange from the beginning. Huge crowd, local press, teachers everywhere. And as we walked toward the covered building entrance, I noticed something odd. People kept stopping Gabriel, shaking his hand, thanking him, looking genuinely emotional. Meanwhile, my family looked more confused with every passing minute, because slowly, they were starting to realize something terrifying. This event might not be about my brother at all. The most shocking truths aren't hidden. They're standing in plain sight while people choose not to see them. The closer we got to the ceremony, the stranger everything felt. Teachers whispering emotionally, students taking pictures with Gabriel, parents stopping just to hug him. Meanwhile, my family still thought this was about Nathan. And honestly, watching that confusion build slowly felt surreal. When we entered the ceremony hall, An administrator immediately walked toward us, then smiled at Gabriel warmly and said, "Mr. Torres, your seats are ready. Front row. Center section. Reserved signs already waiting." My mother looked completely stunned because for the first time, she realized the school saw Gabriel very differently than our family did. As everybody sat down, I noticed something inside the glass display near the stage. At first, I thought I imagined it. Then my stomach dropped. Gabriel's old master keys carefully preserved inside a case, with a plaque underneath. I walked closer slowly, heart racing, and the plaque read, "Mr. Gabriel Torres carried these keys for 27 years. To thousands of students they represented safety. Safety, not janitor, not maintenance man, not hallway cleaner. Safety." And honestly, that single word broke something inside me. The ceremony started with a student tribute video, and one after another, former students appeared on screen emotionally talking about Gabriel. He stayed late helping me study. He made school feel safe. He bought me winter boots anonymously. He talked me out of dropping out. My mother stopped blinking, because suddenly, the man she spent years feeling embarrassed by was being described like a hero. Sometimes people change lives so quietly, even their own families never realize how many hearts they're holding together. Then the principal walked onto the stage, looked directly at Gabriel, and smiled emotionally. Most people saw a janitor. The entire room went silent instantly. Then he continued, "Our students saw the first adult who believed in them." And suddenly, I saw my father lower his head quietly. The principal paused for a long moment, then softly added, "He repaired far more than school buildings." Honestly, that line hit the room like a wave. Teachers crying, students applauding, parents standing up emotionally, and my family? Completely speechless. Then came the final moment, huge curtain covering the new science building entrance, everybody counting down together. 3, 2, 1. The curtain dropped, and across the front of the building, in giant silver letters, was written, "The Gabriel Torres Science Center." My mother physically stopped moving, completely frozen, like her brain couldn't process what she was seeing. Nathan looked stunned. Victoria started crying quietly. And beside me, Gabriel just stood there humbly holding those old blue keys in his hand. Then something happened I'll never forget. My father slowly stood up first during the applause, not anybody else. Him. And quietly, with tears in his eyes, he said, "The man they refused to sit beside paid for the room they're standing in." And honestly, that sentence changed everything. The people society looks down on the fastest are sometimes the people holding entire communities together quietly. After the curtain dropped, the applause just kept going, teachers standing, students crying, parents recording videos. And in the middle of all of it, Gabriel looked overwhelmed, not proud, emotional, like he never expected people to celebrate him this loudly. Then the school board president revealed something shocking. The science building wasn't funded by one wealthy donor. It happened because hundreds of former students donated together. Small amounts, $10, $50, $100, all because of Gabriel. The janitor, they said, changed their lives. My mother kept staring at the students surrounding Gabriel afterward, teenagers hugging him tightly, former graduates crying while thanking him. One girl whispered, "You saved my life." And honestly, I think that was the moment my mother finally understood something painful. Respect this deep can't be bought with status. Then an older teacher approached us quietly and told my parents something they never knew. Years earlier, Gabriel secretly paid for winter coats for students who couldn't afford them. Every single winter. No credit. No announcement. Just anonymous kindness. My father looked completely shattered hearing that. Before leaving, the principal handed my father a small envelope. Inside was Gabriel's very first schoolwork badge, worn edges, faded photo, and attached to it, a note. Thank you for helping build generations of students. My father stared at it for a very long time without speaking. A person's real value isn't measured by titles. It's measured by how many people feel safer because they existed. That night, for the first time in 9 years, my mother finally said Gabriel's name directly. Not your husband, not the janitor. Gabriel. Then quietly whispered, I judged him completely wrong. And honestly, I never thought I'd live long enough to hear that sentence. Gabriel didn't act angry, didn't shame anybody, didn't demand apologies. He simply smiled softly and said, people see what they understand at the time. And somehow, that grace made my family feel even smaller. A few weeks later, we visited the Science Center again quietly, and inside the entrance lobby, that old master keys was still sitting inside the glass display. Students stopping to read the plaque constantly, some even taking pictures beside it. The same keys my family once mocked for being loud had become a symbol of safety to thousands of people. A month later, I received a package from the school. Inside was a framed class photo signed by dozens of students. Messages everywhere. Thank you for sharing Mr. Torres with us. He believed in me first. Your husband changed my life. And sitting there reading those messages quietly, I finally started crying. My family spent years embarrassed by Gabriel's uniform, ashamed of his boots, his keys, his job title. But the entire time, an entire school was learning what kindness looked like because of him. And honestly, that changed the way I see people forever. Because the world teaches us to admire status loudly, but people like Gabriel, they change lives quietly. And sometimes, those are the people who matter most. My family spent years embarrassed by my husband's uniform, while an entire school was learning to feel safe because of the man wearing it. If stories like this touch your heart, subscribe to Before She Spoke Stories.